Cool. So let's and it's recording.
All right. Well, hello, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever. I'm Joe Bernstein. I'm here with my man Paul Newell, and this is Coffee with Paul and Joe, or Joe and Paul, depending on whose orientation you feel connected to in the moment.
Coffee with us.
Coffee with us. Welcome. This is our third episode installment, and today we're actually talking about mindfulness. And why you should listen is we're going to talk about what the hell is it? What is mindfulness, right? It's a big buzzword. People talk about it all the time now. It's growing, but it can be questionable. Right? So we want to tease this out. Both of us have probably done plenty of mindfulness work, but let's gain some clarity here. And you know what? We're not acting like the end all be all with all the answers. If you have a definition of mindfulness, or if you have mindfulness practices, throw them in a comment, reach out to us, or put them in the comments below. We want to hear from you all as well. So we are both people who help people become more mindful, become more well overall. I'm a coach, personal and professional growth coach. I help people with all the things. Paul, give the folks about, a little 10-second snapshot of what you're into right now with Corporate Shift.
Sure. I'm a change agent. So I help people address blocks in life by mindfulness, movement, breath techniques, and processing.
Processing.
Yeah. Process.
Got it. So tell me a little about, in your words, this was your idea. It's like, this is what you're thinking would be good to talk about today. I love the authenticity and like kind of, I don't know if it's truly vulnerability, but like the not knowingness that you showed up to this conversation with. So break it down. Like, why is this the topic for you today, man?
So it's in the first episode, we were talking about the things I'm doing. Like, so I started really diving into my meditation and I had after I meditate, I was journaling at one point, and I started realizing that this space of meditation / mindfulness / whatever was really me sitting with myself. And I was just reading something on the internet, and I saw mindfulness in one context and then mindfulness in another. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, and as a person that helps people learn to sit with themselves and learn to be in that space of presence, I see it as being a challenge, because it's like, first of all, let's create a basis on what mindfulness is, first of all. What does that mean to you? And I feel like this is one of those terms that becomes such a buzzword in wherever our space is, Joe. It's like, whether it's in our community, at work, it's like, hey, let's get a mindfulness coach, or let's mindfulness coach. Like, what is that? Okay, so someone that
more buzzwords.
Yeah, like it's like a collection.
You think a mindfulness coach will help me with my wellness, Paul?
Yeah, it's possible. For your well-being. It's like this almost a taste
buzzwords.
of hell. Yeah. So it really it's something within me that I'm like, okay, like, especially working with people, it's getting to the roots and the basis of what does that mean for you?
Right.
So, I'm just curious, is like, especially as we go into this new year, I see, it was a fitness trends article I was reading. It was like, mindfulness is next.
In fitness.
And look, great. Like, like mindful movement, emotion creates emotion.
Right.
I'm happy to see it, but it's like, okay, there is no solid definition, it seems, of these terms, and it creates this space that it can have people diving into plans that are ineffective. Then it's like, well, I thought we did mindfulness.
right.
So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are on it.
All right. Okay, I got some good ones.
Yeah.
So what's occurring to me in this moment is that anything of extreme value to like the human being, the human animal, to the corporation, to the team, to the relationship, especially anything that has transformative properties to it, is so complex that trying to label it simply and trying to figure out exactly what it is and be the most efficient at it,
right,
that's what we do as humans, and especially as men. We seek for the clarity, we seek for the detail. And this might be something that we can't pin the tail on the donkey. It's like, it might mean one thing to another thing to another, and it still has value and power. So I always like to look at that. What's the pattern beyond the pattern? What are we doing right now? We're trying to clarify something that's rich and complex. Right. They talk about how some languages, love has like 22 words inside of it, and how we just use love, right? It's like mindfulness is one of these things like love. It's going to be silly to define, but let's do it.
Yeah.
So, to me, it's funny. It's like as I think about this, as you're bringing the question up, I almost feel like mindfulness is a very natural, kind of almost automatic default state of being for humans, that we have to learn to get ourselves back to after all of the influence and all of the conditioning and all of the hurts and sorrows and pains and distractions, right, and abstractions and procrastinations and any other big word. I don't know a lot of them. But that's my thought it's a natural state of deep awareness.
Yeah.
Right. And where it's being used in our industries, in our fitness industry, in our leadership industry, in our even food industries right now, even health industries, stress management industries, psychological industries, right? Mental health, I should say. It's being used as like a skill, right? So it's almost learning to practice attention, right? Attention on whatever, body, breath, stimulus around you, emotions, situations. But to me, it's that simple. It's a skill to recultivate where we're practicing attention. And then eventually, like any skill, it becomes second nature. It becomes automatic.
Right.
When we're at our peak states or best states,
It's a practice.
It is, yes. Yeah.
I love that you said it becomes automatic.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that to me, I hear it's a practice.
Oh, it's yeah, man. It's that skill.
Yeah.
Skill.
It's like, squirrel, I'm back.
Yeah, you got to practice
it.
Quick thing to drop. I like these little teaching nuggets. What is it? Skill acquisition. 4 stages of skill acquisition. Unconscious incompetence. Like, I don't know what I don't know. Conscious incompetence. Like, I want to be mindful, but damn, I can't even meditate for 30 seconds. And then your conscious competence. You're like, oh man, I'm mindful. I'm cultivating my awareness. I can feel it. I can drop in and practice awareness as I walk through the park, as I sit with Paul, as I do whatever. I eat a sandwich, I make love, whatever it is, I'm running. I can practice mindfulness. And then eventually there's much more mindful moments that are unconscious competence. I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just being it or doing it, So those 4 stages in mindfulness, we have that eventually,
Yes, man. I hear a lot of presence there too, man. Like for me, it's presence.
Right.
Like how long can I stay present in a moment and not get swayed by a thought, distraction, whatever it is, to stay right on point.
Yeah.
And that could be anything. That could be sitting down, eyes closed, a traditional meditation, maybe like a mudra, like a hand position. Or it can be, I'm just going to sit and watch this tree for a minute. And be right there and be present. It's, when you say, I want to make sure we take, especially these teaching moments, whatever mindfulness practice whatever mindfulness means to you, it's a practice. So it's not something like, hey, I did a course, I'm mindful. Nope.
Right.
It's an acquired skill, okay? And it has a lot of benefits. I want to make sure we tap into that too before we wrap up, like some of the benefits and some of the practices. Because, with us, between the two of us, I'm sure there's a couple takeaways we can give some peoples.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is important to let people know, it is a practice.
Yes.
That's why I talk about like, I should be very candid about my life. So just started dating again after a breakup a few months back. And like,
Nice, man.
It's
Congrats.
important. Thank you. It's important to me that the women that I spend time with or date, that they have practices, you know, and so,
Right.
embodiment practice and mindfulness practice. If they got some spiritual practice too, great. But it's important that it's not just like, oh yeah, I'm very mindful. No, no, no. It's important to practice.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to cultivate, because at the end of the day, we can be the most Zen-like person, but if we're not practicing that moment that we really need it in our daily life, it won't be there for us, you know? If we're not there for it regularly, it won't be there for us, right? Like any practice.
Well, why is that important for you in a relationship?
Oh, dude. In a relationship,
Yeah.
I think the quality of our life has a lot to do. Well, okay. There's two things here. We're talking about mindfulness
Right.
and we're talking about practice.
Right.
Um, it's just very important for me to be with people, whether it's friendship or romantic relationship or whatever, little fling, it doesn't matter, business partnership, whatever, that can be in the moment,
Mm.
because I want to be able to feel them. I'm very, my connection experience is very energetic based. I
Mm.
need to be able to feel that they're here, that they're present.
Right.
Um, I'm very curious, and I feel most like loved and appreciated when people are curious about me. And that takes a lot of like, I think there's some mindfulness to curiosity. I want someone that has attention, you know, in conversation, that can experience little moments of pleasure. You talk about staring at a tree, or, you know, the meal comes to us at the restaurant and it looks beautiful and they acknowledge it and they take a moment, revel in it. That mindfulness has a lot to do with our capacity to be sensual. And if I'm talking about who I want in a partner, I want a partner who's alive sensually, you know?
Mm.
So there's a lot going on here. But most importantly, too, it's like I want someone to be able to experience, be mindful enough to experience their own emotions,
Mm.
to
Right.
know which thoughts are like automatic sabotaging thoughts, you know, to know which emotions are present or real. And we have to be
Right.
pretty mindful to be intuitive. I want to be with partners. I want to be in relationships with people that are intuitive and trust their body intuition and trust their emotions. So
Right.
mindfulness practice is almost like, it's like breath. It's like
Mm.
breathing to having a great life of great relationships and sensuality and good communication,
Right.
awareness of self, you know, and intuition. Yeah.
Yes, man. Preach. Preach, man. Yes. I mean, you know, because this is, you know, you're talking about this in a relationship perspective, and that's, you know, this is in regards to dating, but along the relationship spectrum,
Yeah.
this is in friendships.
Yeah.
You know, with partners, partnerships, spouses, kids,
Yeah.
work, corporate, team. This is big. As someone that can be able to experience two big things you said, except the sensual experience, meaning experiencing the visual, the auditory, the scent, the
Yeah.
difference, and then you mentioned the emotional intelligence, which brought me back to the mindfulness, that place of, wow, I'm just like, I'm feeling this thing in this moment. Like, I just want to express this. So let's be able to communicate and be mindful, be present with it, to know, well, what is this? Like, rather than just acting and just like lashing. And those are things, being in a relationship with someone that has that perspective on mindfulness. So many benefits, man.
Yeah. Well,
So many.
let's talk about this for corporate environments. Let's say there's leadership out there, right, who's kind of
Mhm.
like slowly coming along. You know, a year and a half ago, a little over a year ago, I did a whole weekend thing here, a summit, mindful leadership summit.
Mhm.
And it was pretty inspiring, pretty impressive. You know, when you're talking to people in the corporate world in a leadership position,
Right.
what's the real benefit? Why would I be bought in as a leader to invest time, energy, and money in mindfulness for myself or for my employees? Like, I'd love to hear from you. Where do you see that coming into play big time in business or just in relationships in the office, whatever, right?
It's, wow. There's so the big benefit for me is growth and creativity. It's because there's growth through things like conflict management, there's growth through things like collaboration, there's growth through um, diverse perspectives and cultural competence. So the growth there, and then the creativity. that happens through that discomfort of growth.
Mm-hmm.
So being mindful to what's happening, being mindful to listening to others, being mindful to our communication, being mindful to our impacts, being mindful to what our purpose is.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the big things for me, especially with what I do now. Those are big things in helping leadership, to helping business leaders, people that are looking for engagement,
Mm-hmm.
helping them learn to be present in what's happening here rather than getting caught in a thought, a story of what they think may be happening rather than getting down to the truth. Having these open circles, having these open communications, and being able to express emotional intelligence. Like, I feel sadness that we had to let a department go. Like, I feel sadness that, we had a bad fourth quarter. I feel shame that I feel like I let the team down.
Yeah.
Like, being mindful of those things and what they are, I feel it really resonates as far as companies being able to have different input, and then also being able to create different ways of solutions for their clients, for gaining more whatever they want to do, market share, more brand, more of a social footprint. Like, what are the things that are an environmental, what are the things that they want to do, and really getting to the heart of getting a collective I guess collective wisdom to help a company grow.
Right.
Those are the benefits for me.
Oh man, there's so much juice in there.
Yo, go ahead for it, man.
No. It's just, yeah, you went for it. I mean, it's so true.
Yeah.
And just on a real baseline level, like literally, if you're listening and you lead a team, even if it's one person, you're a solo entrepreneur and you have a VA, right? Virtual assistant. Do you want that person who you're paying for, essentially you're paying for their time? Now, we could break down capitalism on another episode, but we're not going to do that right now.
Maybe
2020. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're paying for their time, right?
Right.
People pay for my time. They sign up with me. They work with me for whatever, 4 months, 6 months, 12 months coaching. But at the end of the day, they're paying for the relationship and the transformation that happens. But there's moments, there's hour blocks I call sessions. And it's like, do you want the person in your employ to have 20% of their attention during that meeting, during that workshop, reading that article? Or do you want the person with 80% of their attention? Right? Like that's it. So that's it. That could be it right there. How much more powerful is your team or your business if everyone's actually focused and not thinking about what's for dinner or not thinking about the argument with their 13-year-old during a meeting? It's just like, we can make it that simple, like that simple.
Joe, yes. See, my analyzer's popping up right here. I'm like, like what you just said is so important, because just those actions create such a ripple on an energetic level, right? Because being able to tap into that experience, like, wow, now everyone's engaged. Everyone's on. And then it brings me back to what you said, that's there as far as the senses. In those meetings, what else can be received that's not being seen or heard?
Right.
That may be it may be a small degree, but that trajectory creates such an impact in the business.
Yeah.
So being in that moment, and so a lot of times, okay, well, what can we quantify that? Well, I don't know. What's the measure? But that's where it is, man. There's so many levels energetically that especially the times that we're living in right now, there's like being able to express and like be in a moment. There's so many things that are going across that we can be present. No distractions, man.
Yeah.
No distractions.
Well, yeah. And there are some, I mean, what's the ROI or what's the measure? There are some. I mean, I remember seeing a Gallup statistic talking about globally stress and workplace disengagement, which, hey, we can bring down stress and we can create more engagement with mindfulness practices and workshops and sessions and trust in each other, right? And good communication.
Right.
But that's apparently a loss of $7 trillion a year globally to those two factors. Now, those are big, disengagement and stress. those are pretty big old, it's not going to be mindfulness alone that solves them, but we know it's big money at stake. One thing you mentioned is to talk about some practices. I think it'd be cool to list off just some things that people can do to practice, because it can be just a consistent practice all the time.
Yeah. Deep belly breathing. Let's go back and forth. Mine is deep belly breathing. Hands on the belly. Breathing deep into the belly for 1 minute.
Ooh, a whole minute. Okay.
A minute to start off. If you've never practiced before, start with a minute. If you've practiced before, go to 10.
Yeah.
5 to 10. What about you, Joe?
I like one it gives you a lot of opportunity, but it's also really, really, really hard. Is just mindful eating. So taking those lunch breaks or taking that breakfast 10 minutes, the 5 to 10 minutes, whatever it is that you have, actually turn off the phone and not have a book or not have your computer open, and start out with like 5 big deep belly breaths as well before you eat. Stare at your food, speak gratitude around it, look at the colors, whatever, and then just eat slowly and feel it. That's a real deep one, because it's really hard to stay present with the body as we eat, to stay present in the moment as we eat, to not be distracted, but it's really powerful. And you have 3 chances a day, if not more. So
there you go.
It's already built in.
It's built in the process, man.
Yeah.
I love that. I'd say I'm a fan of grounding. Mm-hmm. If you have space where you can have your bare feet outside, grass, in nature, on a piece of wood, on earth, that's a mindful moment where you just see what comes up in the body, see what you experience. And again, I'm a short and sweet person for a reset. So 1 to 5 minutes is a good practice to start with.
I think it's always important as well to have a practice. Try a sitting practice, try a standard sitting meditation practice, because that's a really big one. That's like the foundational skill, in a way. It helps build a lot of skill.
So true, man. So true. We going one more? Or we
let's do. We can do a few more. Yeah.
So I'm a moving guy, man. So find something where you can move around, whether it's play your favorite music and just tap into what's happening. Just move your joints, check in, move your ankles, wrists, move to your favorite song for a minute. Be mindful in the moment. Don't think about what you look like moving. Just move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to bring up, I want to say mindful listening. I think active listening is one thing. Mindful listening is another. So one thing that I know is very helpful for me, especially if I'm having a hard time focusing, is I'll literally practice maintaining eye contact, breathing, and as an entry-level skill, just go ahead and start practicing repeating in your head what people are saying to you as they say it. So this is something I've learned, something I use a lot back when I was in sales. You just literally, you don't allow your mind to drift or think its own thoughts. You just, in your own head, repeat, like the split second after people are saying it, repeat. So that way you're really dialed in, you're really focused, you're hearing every word and you're repeating it. And then eventually you don't have to do that anymore. Eventually you can really just be there and hear. And then the next step in that practice is to kind of just feel what's happening in you, feel what reactions are coming up while you're still focused. Notice if there's any energy going on in your own body as you're talking to someone. But yeah, that real mindful listening, I would say, is just being really present, being really focused. And that entry skill is just repeat those words they're saying in your own head. Can't get lost.
Oh man. Okay. You bring that. I love that you said that. Because I was thinking of, well, what's a practice that they could do on their own, right? If they don't have an opportunity to be in that conversation. And I was thinking of watching body language. Like, whether, if you're a corporate, you're in a lunchroom or in a meeting, watching the body language and tuning into what could that be saying?
Yeah. Right.
What could that person not be said? What's not being said in a situation?
Right.
By reading body language. That's a great mindfulness technique, especially for leaders. corporate community or wherever in life.
Yeah, just practice seeing other people and what their energy's up to and their bodies up to.
Yes.
And you don't even,
I love people watching, man.
Yeah, and you don't even need to know body language perfectly. You're gonna intuit a lot of it. And if you're bold enough, you're gonna make up a story and then go, I saw you kind of shrugged a little bit over there. Is everything, what's going on? You had something to share, whatever it is, right? You check in.
Yes.
But
thank you for that.
The final thing I'd like to say, and this is a big thing, because you can put this on everything in your whole life. I'd say one of the number one mindfulness practices besides sitting and breath work, slowing down in anything you do. Yeah, I mean, I love your reaction. No, like literally start with like a slow walk. Like, we walk around so fast. Walk slower.
Yep.
Maybe take out your headphones. Maybe not. Right? Maybe just walk slower and feel the air and feel your body and see what's going on. What do you notice as you slow down? And you can apply this to, again, eating, cooking, exercise. You can apply this to relationship, communication, conversations. You can apply this to just about anything in our lives. Even just going through the internet, I'm checking Facebook, like, slow that roll, slow it down. Even anything where you get to practice slowing down is a superpower. It can be,
Yep. Truth, man. Oh, wow. Yeah, we gave some good tips there. Yeah. All right. I'm good, man. Thank you for helping me work through that.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you for bringing it up.
Yeah, my pleasure, man. Next week you got the topic.
Okay.
Looking forward to it, man.
Got it, man. All right, y'all. Thanks for listening. You'll have information on how to reach out to each of us below. Drop a comment, share this thing, send it to the world. We want to make an impact and we want to get seen, heard, felt, and loved, all that good stuff.
Yeah, buddy.
Any last word, Paul, for you?
Yeah, share and list what mindfulness is for you.
Right.
I'm curious. Like I'm open and curious to hearing what mindfulness is for people out there.
Oh yeah. Beautiful. Peace. Happy New Year, everyone. Whenever you see this, maybe next week it'll already be the new year, but
Merry New Year.
Bye.
All right. Be well, Joe.
All right, man.